Yo, what's up family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can, just so we can get out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into the video. With trade season heating up, I just dropped the full trade deadline guide for the Boston Celtics. I'll put that link in the description, and today I'll be doing the guide on the entire Eastern Conference, and I fully plan on dropping the Western Conference version very soon. Legitimate reports are starting to come out about potential big shakeups in the league, so I felt the time was right for this, and with that being said, let's get into it. It's only right that we start off with the team that has the most smoke around them and that's done some action as well, and that is the Toronto Raptors. As you may know, they dealt OG Anunoby to the New York Knicks in exchange for Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, and a second round pick. The trade looks good for both sides, but for right now, all the focus is on Pascal Siakam. Chris Haynes was live on the Bleacher Report app and said that it is very much believed that Siakam will be playing his last games for the Raptors and will be dealt at the deadline. The teams that we know of that have reported interest in acquiring Siakam are the Warriors, Pacers, and Mavs. The Kings were in talks with the Raptors, but eventually pulled out about a week ago. There was a little buzz about the 76ers getting into the mix, but I'm not sure how real that is. In my opinion, just from an asset standpoint, I don't think anyone comes close to what the Pacers can offer. The Warriors have Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Trayce Jackson-Davis, and future picks, which is cool, but the Mavs and 76ers don't have the available young pieces that would steer me away from Siakam if I'm the Raptors. Keegan Murray would have been a solid piece, but the Kings let it be known that he wouldn't be a part of any trade talks, which leaves the Pacers who could offer a combination of Benedict Mathurin, 8th overall pick Jarris Walker, the contract of Buddy Hield, Isaiah Jackson, plus picks. Another wrinkle in the Pascal Siakam deal is cap space. Pascal is on an expiring deal, and it's been reported that he's looking for something close to a max deal, so teams that don't have that type of money would be taking a huge risk giving up assets for a half a season rental. Besides Siakam, I'm interested to see what Toronto does with veterans Gary Trent Jr., Dennis Schroeder, Chris Boucher, and Otto Porter. All of these players could be solid role players on contending teams. Next is the Atlanta Hawks, who have also been making some rumor noise as of late. Just a few hours ago, a report came out that the only untouchables they have are Trae Young and Ford Jalen Johnson. The Hawks are one of those teams that if they decide to unload majority of their role players, it could possibly change the landscape of the league. Saddiq Bey, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Clint Capella, DeAndre Hunter, and Onyeka Okongwu are all surefire rotational pieces on playoff teams, but I do not expect the Hawks to go into rebuild mode at the moment. But most important of all is DeJounte Murray. Reports of Murray being traded are starting to heat up, and I've heard credible sources say that DeJounte is going to get traded before the deadline, so I'm excited to see where he goes. The believed front runner for Murray right now is the Los Angeles Lakers. Besides Austin Reeves, I'm not a fan personally of much the Lakers could offer in the trade, but that's an argument for another day. The next team is a really underrated player in the deadline cycle, and that's the Washington Wizards. They made a trade earlier today with the Pistons as they sent Danilo Gallinari and Mike Muscala to Detroit for Marvin Bagley, Isaiah Livers, and 2 seconds. For the Pistons, this seemed like a salary dump move, giving up 2 picks to get off the Marvin Bagley deal. For the Wizards, I'm assuming the seconds were enough to take on the Bagley contract, and I'm actually not opposed to them exploring his upside. He will come in and be that backup big behind Daniel Gafford and should get a lot more playing time with Washington. This past offseason, the Wizards traded stars Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis and acquired Jordan Poole for Chris Paul. And coming into the deadline, they have one of the more intriguing trade pieces, which is Kyle Kuzma. Kuz is having a really good season, averaging a career high 22 points, 6 rebounds, and a career high 4 assists. Kuz signed a 4-year, $102 million deal before the season started, and it can actually be great value for a team because the money he's getting annually decreases every season. The Wizards also have Tyus Jones and DeLon Wright, who are both veteran PGs who can help playoff teams. Jones has been one of the best backup PGs in the league for a couple of seasons now and is the king of value in the basketball. Wright is a seasoned defensive menace, and both are on the last year of their deals. We can flip right back to the Detroit Pistons, who I honestly have no idea what direction they want to go in. After setting the all-time record for most consecutive losses, most would think the franchise will cut their losses on the season, but multiple reports spanning from the earlier parts of the losing streak have suggested that they are looking to add older talent. The guys linked to the Pistons so far have been Pascal Siakam, Miles Bridges, and Kyle Kuzma. As I said before, they just shredded the Bagley contract, so maybe that was a stepping stone for another trade down the line, but I'm not sure. What they should be focused on is getting assets back for their veterans. Bojan Bogdanovic reportedly could have got the Pistons 2 first-round picks last year. His value has certainly gone down from that, but I'm sure teams would still be interested in a 20-point-per-game scorer who shoots 40% from deep. Besides the older guys like Bogey and Alec Burks, I'm interested to see what the Pistons do with the younger guys like Jaden Ivey and Killian Hayes. Ivey has been playing more as of late, but he was unhappy with his role early in the season. I don't think the Pistons would consider him untouchable if the right deal came around. Next is the Milwaukee Bucks, who would obviously be looking for bench help. The Bucks haven't put any names out there as far as players they are looking to trade or acquire, but it has been said that they are looking for a defensive-minded forward. This makes a lot of sense as the team is one of the worst defensive teams in the league despite being second in the East. The tricky part lies at what the Bucks can give up to get a valuable bench piece. Without having any first-round picks to trade, it's just tough to see what other teams will want from the Bucks that they are willing to give up. Chris Middleton, while still being solid is aging. Bobby Portis could have some value, but I don't think the Bucks move him. And the young guys, MarJon Beauchamp and Andre Jackson, are the only playable young talent they have to develop, and I think it would take a lot for them to part ways with them. Next are the Boston Celtics, who just like the Bucks are focused on bench depth if they acquire anyone. But unlike the Bucks, the Celtics have their own first rounder available to trade this season, and they also have a bunch of second round picks they got from this past NBA draft. The Celtics also have multiple trade exceptions that allows them to trade for certain players without giving up any players in return. The Celtics are always at least active at the deadline, so I'm interested to see what Brad Stevens thinks the team needs. Next is the 76ers, who unlike the Celtics and Bucks have been reportedly looking to add more than bench talent. I've seen reports of them monitoring the situations of Pascal Siakam and Zach LaVine. The 76ers don't have many compelling pieces if I'm an opposing GM, but they do have big expiring deals and picks. The 76ers can't trade their first rounder this year and don't have one for 2025, but they have multiple firsts that they can trade between the years 2026 and 2029 that can be packaged with those contracts. A deal they can make is one similar to what the Hawks did to acquire DeJounte Murray. The Hawks gave up Danilo Gallinari, who was an expiring deal, and 3 first-round picks plus a swap. Here are all the players on expiring deals the 76ers could trade in their salaries for this year. Tobias Harris, $39 million. Marcus Morris, $17 million. Nick Batum, $11 million. Robert Covington, $11 million. Furkan Korkmaz, who has been dying to get out of Philly for years, $5.3 million. Daniel House, $4.3 million. Mo Bamba, Pat Bev, and KJ Martin all make $2 million. The 76ers could be a prime team at the deadline, just given they have many tradable contracts and future picks. There hasn't been much buzz about the Cleveland Cavaliers other than the looming uncertainty of Donovan Mitchell. Some of those talks have died down with the Knicks' recent trade for OG Anunoby, but there's always some talks about Mitchell potentially leaving for the Knicks. As far as the makeup of the Cavs team, I think it's a good roster, obviously a playoff team, but I'm just not sure how they get to that next level. They can't trade their first this year, and they don't have any first round picks at all until 2030. While I'm not sure what they will offer, they could use a wing or a backup big. Royce O'Neal, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Wendell Carter are players that I think the Cavs could pursue that shouldn't cost a whole lot. Doug McDermott or a Cedi Osman reunion could be other low value options. Next is the Indiana Pacers, who we talked about a little bit at the start with the Toronto Raptors. The Pacers are looking to be extra active this deadline and of course are looking at Pascal Siakam. They've also made it known that they are looking to package Buddy Hield and picks in a deal. They have 2 first rounders this year and have all of their own first rounders through 2030. They would obviously like to hold on to Benedict Mathurin and Jarris Walker, but we have to see what the Buddy Hield package can get them. If nothing comes out of that, the Pacers will have to consider throwing one of those guys in, but I do like the Pascal fit with them and also Larry Markkinen. Next is the Miami Heat, who are always a threat to make a move. It's actually funny to say that, being that Miami was the only team last year that didn't make a trade before the deadline, but it seemed to work out. Before Dame was traded, they were far and away front runners to get him with the Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, and Nikola Jovic package. A player of Dame's caliber isn't said to be available at the moment, and Jaquez is much more valuable now than he was at the start of the season. Basically, all the best players that are reported to be available have been linked, even in a small capacity, to Miami. I'm interested to see if Miami makes a move this year. The New York Knicks are already one of the winners of trade season. At first, just seeing the initial return for OG Anunoby, it did look like the Knicks gave up a lot for him, but understanding that Immanuel Quickley was most likely looking for a deal near max money, it was a risk waiting until the offseason for him to make a decision. And in the Knicks' mind, they would rather give OG a max than IQ. So essentially, the deal for the Knicks was RJ and a second for OG. And while the Raptors made out great in the deal also, OG is a perfect fit for the Knicks and the way Tom Thibodeau likes to play. With all that being said, most Knicks fans were expecting a bigger fish in a trade like Donovan Mitchell. While I'm not sure they have the assets to still make that trade, they can wait till Donovan is a free agent to sign him, and they still have a lot of picks and guys like Quinn Grimes and a contract of Evan Fournier that can probably get them a nice bench piece like a Malcolm Brogdon. Reports are now starting to come out about what the Orlando Magic want to do prior to the deadline. As of right now, they are shopping and testing the value of Markelle Fultz and Wendell Carter Jr. Fultz is an expiring deal worth $17 million and looks like a casualty of the logjam the Magic have at the guard position. Jalen Suggs has been amazing this year. They just drafted Anthony Black and have Cole Anthony, who has been good off the bench. Wendell Carter is a good center but would be a very good bench center. I'm not sure if the Magic would give up the assets needed to do this, but I think Larry Markkinen would be a dream for this squad. The Chicago Bulls are another team that has the potential to be very active at the deadline. Headlined of course by Zach LaVine name-wise, but all of the reports I've seen so far suggest that the trade market for LaVine is rough. Other than LaVine, Alex Caruso has been a hot commodity since the beginning of the season. Caruso is a rare player that can fit on any NBA team, and I expect opposing GMs to be lining up for him trying to offer. DeMar DeRozan has been available all season, but like LaVine, I'm not sure the market is there. DeRozan is an agent scorer that I think needs to fit with the team he's traded to, which lowers the number of potential suitors. Torrey Craig and Andre Drummond are also veteran pieces that can help contend the teams off the bench. Chicago can really get some assets back for the future if they decide to move on want from these guys. The Brooklyn Nets have a number of pieces to make deals, but the direction they want to go in is still uncertain. They are the 10th seed in the East, which technically is a play-in berth, but I don't think this is enough to be buyers. The Nets have really intriguing veterans that I think can make up big trades either way they decide to go. Spencer Dinwiddie, Royce O'Neal, and Lonnie Walker are all on expiring deals and can be useful for a lot of teams. Dorian Finney-Smith is signed for 3 years, and I expect teams to be calling about him too. They drafted 2 rookies in the first round, Noah Clowney and Dariq Whitehead, who I expect them to develop but could be sweeteners in the trade if need be. And last but not least is the Charlotte Hornets, who absolutely need to sell high on their veterans and get more young pieces / picks. Terry Rozier is averaging 24 points and 7 assists this year, and I think he can swing a few playoff games if he's traded to a team that makes it. Gordon Hayward is also more valuable than he's been in a long time due to the fact that he's on the last year of his deal. He's averaging 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists so far this season. Miles Bridges has also been a name teams are looking at, and he's on an expiring deal, averaging 20 points and 7 rebounds. The Hornets have a prime opportunity to get assets that fit their timeline more and provide better situations for the veterans on their roster. But that is the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can, just so we can get out there a little bit more. And I will see you guys in the next video. This is Nick. Peace.